I think the legacy of my father and my grandfather in terms of the architects of a modern Iran and where they were taking the country, which is the opposite of what this regime has practically done, is one of the reasons that there is a sense of nostalgia, but also a sense of comparison and say, well, you know, the track record speaks for itself. As these last almost 4 decades have gone by, I think people had a chance to get to know the real nature of this regime. Are today fully aware of all the shortcomings in terms of where they are at, from political repression to economic hardship to environmental destruction, and most importantly, I think a sense of being ostracized from the world community as opposed to be participating in the world community. Unfortunately, because this regime is irreformable in the sense that it does not allow for any kind of method within the system, within the body of the law, within the constitution to bring any legislation, to modify anything, it would be impossible to expect that reform can come from within. Change has to occur on the basis of a popular uprising in the form of civil disobedience, labor strikes, anything that will force the regime backwards to the point of collapse, because this regime is not to voluntarily concede power. What I believe is that the content of the future regime has to be based on a secular democratic system where there's a clear separation of religion from government, without which you cannot have a true egalitarian democracy. The proof is in the pudding. People do value that. This is a regime that tried to destroy our Iranianhood, if I could put it this way. And Iranians do value their sense of national identity. And somehow it is tied with the history of that country and the monarchic establishment. I've lived for most of my life in democratic countries in the West. So the values of liberty, the values of democracy, the values of human rights are embedded in the core of my value system. And I would like that for my country. And I think a lot of my compatriots today, as a result of all the hardship that they have endured, realize that unless we are able to implement a system that guarantees citizens' rights, from their human rights to their political rights to their religious rights to their opinion, everything included, you cannot have a progressive, modern, free society. It's as simple as that.